Today, we're diving into Jainism. Now, it's a name we've probably all heard, but what's fascinating is that its history and philosophy, well, they go way deeper than most people think. So, let's get into it.
And let's start with the one question that really shapes how we see this faith. When you think of Jainism, chances are you think of one person, Mahavir. But here's the thing. Did he actually start the religion? The answer is probably not what you expect, and it's the key to understanding this whole ancient path.
Okay, so first things first. We're going to tackle some of the most common myths right off the bat. Because honestly, to really get what Jainism is about, we have to unlearn what we think we know.
Right, so these are the two big ones you hear all the time. First, that Mahavir was the founder, and second, that Jainism is just some kind of offshoot of Hinduism. Well, both of those are just not right. Jainism is its own thing, and it's much, much older than you might realize.
So here's the crucial point. Jainism didn't just spring up in the 6th century BC with Mahavir. Its roots go way, way back into antiquity. It actually started with its very first spiritual teacher, or Tirthankara, a figure named Rishabdev. This makes Jainism one of the oldest living faiths, not just in India, but in the entire world.
And that brings us to a really core idea here, the Tirthankaras. You see, this isn't a religion with just one single founder. It's guided by this long, long line of enlightened teachers. So what does that actually mean?
A Tirthankara is literally a ford maker. Think of it like this. There's someone who has crossed the massive river of suffering and reached total liberation, what's called moksha. But they don't just stop there. After they've done all that intense spiritual work, their whole purpose is to turn around and teach the rest of us how to make that same journey.
Okay, so let's fast forward through this ancient line of teachers to a really key figure who kind of set the stage for Mahavir. This is the 23rd Tirthankara, Parshvanath. He lived about 250 years before Mahavir, and he's the one who really laid down the core principles for that whole era. What Parshvanath did was give his followers this really clear code of conduct, 4 great vows that became the bedrock of Jain ethics for centuries. First, ahimsa, nonviolence. Second, satya, always be truthful. Third, asteya, don't steal. And fourth, aparigraha, non-possession, or not being attached to stuff.
But you know how it goes. Time passes, societies change, and the commitment to these principles started to get a little bit loose. And this is exactly where the man we all know, Mahavir, enters the picture. Not as a founder, but as a great revitalizer. He was actually born a prince named Vardalan back in 540 BC. He lived a pretty normal life for a royal until he was 30. After his parents passed away, he renounced everything, the palace, the wealth, all of it, and started this life of intense meditation. It took 12 incredibly long years of hardship before he finally reached enlightenment. That's when he became Mahavir, the great hero, and he spent the rest of his life just teaching until he attained nirvana in 468 BC.
So, if he wasn't the original founder, why do people call him the real founder? Well, it's because his energy, his teaching, and the way he organized everything, it led to this massive growth and spread of Jainism. He didn't invent it, but he absolutely supercharged it into the powerful, lasting religion we know today.
And his biggest reform was actually pretty straightforward. He took those 4 principles from Parshvanath, and he added one more crucial vow, brahmacharya, or celibacy. He felt this was absolutely essential for monks and nuns to achieve complete detachment from the world, and that one change really reshaped the whole monastic community.
So all these vows, how do they fit into the bigger picture? Well, the core philosophy of Jainism really boils down to 2 main things: an absolute, unwavering commitment to nonviolence, and a really clear 3-step path to liberation. That very first vow, ahimsa, it's not just a rule, it's everything. It's so central it has its own famous mantra, ahimsa paramo dharma. This comes right from Jainism, and it means that nonviolence isn't just a good idea, it is the highest, most supreme duty there is, period.
But what's really mind-blowing is how far this principle goes. We're not just talking about not harming people or animals. It extends to all life, even tiny microscopic organisms you can't even see. This is the reason why many devout Jains won't eat root vegetables, things like potatoes or carrots, because to harvest them, you have to pull up and kill the entire plant, along with all the little organisms living in the soil around it.
So if that's the core belief, how do you actually achieve liberation? Jains believe it's through what they call the Triratna, or the 3 jewels.
First is right faith, just having real conviction in the teachings. Second is right knowledge, truly understanding how reality works. And third is right conduct, which means living your life by the ethical rules like those 5 great vows we talked about.
So, let's zoom out a bit. How have these ancient ideas actually shaped the world over thousands of years? Well, the legacy of Jainism is huge, and it's woven deep into the fabric of India.
After Mahavir's time, the faith eventually split into 2 main groups. You have the Shvetambar, which means white-clad, and their monks and nuns wear simple white robes. Then you have the Digambar, or sky-clad, whose monks practice a much more extreme form of asceticism, giving up even clothing. And there's a huge difference in belief here. The Shvetambars believe women can achieve liberation, while the Digambars believe a woman has to be reborn as a man to do so.
But the impact of the faith goes so far beyond just its own structure. It was a powerful force for social change. Jainism pushed back hard against the rigid caste system and promoted equality for everyone. And it was revolutionary for its time by saying, yes, women can also seek ordination and achieve nirvana, putting them on the same spiritual level as men.
And you can literally see this legacy carved in stone all across India. I mean, the art and architecture are just breathtaking. You've got the impossibly detailed marble work of the Dwara temples, the ancient cave temples at Ellora, and then there's the giant statue of Gamateshwara. It's one of the biggest freestanding statues in the entire world. It's just incredible.
Which brings us right back to where we started, to that core idea of Jainism. In a world that feels so full of conflict, what can we take away from a philosophy that puts non-harming as its absolute highest ideal? It's definitely a question worth thinking about.
Thanks for tuning in.